This has gotta be the craziest divorce case I've ever seen. In 2011, a man from Italy named Antonio was absolutely furious to find out that his wife had cheated on him. The only problem was he was 99 years old and his wife was 96. And she had cheated on him more than 60 years ago in the 1940s. At the time, Antonio had been with his wife Rosa for around 10 years. However, little did he know that she was actually seeing someone else back then as well, often sending love letters to the second guy and seeing him when Antonio wasn't around. But since Rosa eventually ended things with the guy sometime later, Antonio only found out about her affair 60 years later in 2011, when he came across the letters that they'd exchanged in one of her old chests. For some reason, she had kept all of them tucked away for the memories. And although 99-year-old Antonio had been with Rosa for 77 entire years and had been very happy with her, having 5 children, 12 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild together, he felt so betrayed, hurt, and angry that he immediately decided to file for divorce. They would end up becoming the oldest divorcees in history.
Stupid when your man wants to divorce and I don't know why, I'm the victim, it must be another woman. You ain't fooling nobody, I'm a chick too. I was been scrolling through TikTok last night and I can hear a woman and I hear, we've been together for 30 years, we're a week from moving into our retirement house that we built, everything's paid off, like, he hit me with, I want a divorce. I'm in shock. I've never been in shock. I beg, I plead, I screamed, I cried, and he wants nothing to do with me. Can you imagine if you built this whole life together, everything's paid off, you're retired, you built your dream house, and he wants to leave you. I can tell you right now what she did. I want this, I want that, bitch, that's what you did. You didn't give a fuck about his burdens. You didn't give a fuck about his feelings. You complained, you whined, and you drove the man up a fucking tree to the point where he had no way out. Women will divorce you for next to nothing. When a man puts a ring on your finger, he loves you more than anything in the world. It is unconditional.
Before we dive in, drop a comment. Are modern men more delusional, or is it the ladies? Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what we expose next. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Men don't just wake up one morning and decide to walk away from a marriage because they're bored. That's a convenient story, but it's almost never the real one. Men are actually wired to endure discomfort for a very long time. They stay quiet. They tolerate disrespect. They internalize frustration. And they keep going, hoping things will improve. So when a man finally reaches the point of divorce, especially after decades, it's not impulsive. It's not emotional. It's the final chapter of a long process that's been unfolding behind the scene. And the wife usually knows exactly what pushed him there. The patterns, the behavior, the moment trust, respect, or peace disappeared. But here's where the script flips. If she were honest about what actually happened, the victim narrative would collapse. No sympathy, no validation, no attention. And that's a problem in a culture that rewards emotional victimhood more than personal accountability. So instead, we get the sanitized version. He was unhappy. He just changed. He got bored. Vague. Language that erases years of context and responsibility because details are dangerous. Details invite questions, and questions expose truths that don't trend well on social media. This isn't about blaming one side blindly. It's about recognizing a pattern. When accountability threatens the spotlight, the truth gets edited out. And the moment a man finally chooses peace over performance, he's painted as the villain for refusing to play along anymore. That's not confusion. That's strategy.
Way to avoid being a single mom. And I don't think people realize that. Because people will always say,
you let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom.
Yeah, I got him in here cooking tonight after he worked 12 hours. See, this is what you need to do when you come home from work. I know he's gonna say, well, you should be cooking every night because I pay the bills. But guess what? Guess what, buddy? That's not how it's gonna work around here.
Here, what I'm doing.
Because I need to make sure you're doing it correctly. What are you talking about? Don't try to push me out of my kitchen. And when you're done, you're gonna clean all those dishes in that sink.
You know what you're not showing? The sleepless nights these men had to endure, the sacrifices, the risks they had to take care of their family. We have gender roles. The female duck takes care of her young, the lioness takes care of her cubs, and y'all have to wash dishes and make a sandwich. You think humans are the only species that are excluded from having gender roles when every other species on the planet has one? The paradox of declining female happiness, which is a Yale study showing that the more liberated that you females have become from your assigned gender roles, the more unhappy that you've also become. Just do your role, be appreciative of your man for all the risks and sacrifices that he's made for you, call your fathers, and apologize.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if a man offers a walk, a coffee, or a hike for a first date, he does not value you. Or he's cheap, or broke, and he's not dateable. But if you accept, you've got low self-esteem, and you got to work on that. Well, you might be wondering, what do I do if a man offers a hike, a coffee, a walk for a first date? And the answer is simple. Ignore. Ghost.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but just remember, ladies, single women like to keep other women single. I said what I said.
So I watched a video from another creator last night that made an interesting point, that during my marriage, I was the best man ever. I was the most supportive husband ever. I was the most supportive dad ever. I coached flag football. I coached wrestling for 6 years while my little boys were wrestling. I coached youth basketball while my oldest daughter was on that team. I hauled my kids everywhere for their youth rodeos. We practiced for 4-H shows and rodeos almost every day through the summer. I was their roping coach. I was the one who shod their horses. Was also their horse dentist, and I was the mechanic and the farmer and the initial dog trainer in our dog business, and I was the one who worried about finding the pallets of dog food that we used in our business. I was the one tasked with finding the hay for all the horses and feeding the cows and calving out the cows, and I was the superstar until we got divorced. And then I was banished to my RV trailer in our driveway. And then I was a dangerous dad.
I feel so sorry for a lot of these guys. I feel so sorry for a lot of these guys. And I'm gonna add another twist to this a little bit, right? Because now what I'm starting to see is a rebirth, an explosion of guys that are going off on men that are fearful and do not want to put themselves in a position to be like this man and several other guys that are on these applications telling a story, and they're trying to suppress it, and they're trying to say that you guys don't deserve a voice, that we hate women if we start to have conversations or we hold people accountable for the things that they say and the stories that they tell online, in which they paint men as narcissists. They say that they're dangerous. They with them all of this time, and then after 20 years, 15 years, building up their businesses, raising their children and all of this stuff, all of a sudden, you guys are a danger to society. And because you've done everything that you could, and even when you didn't like that chick, you stayed so that you can make sure that your children was raised because it was the right thing to do. Now you're bad guys. And I see a rise of men that are saying and going off and acting like, oh, he don't deserve you because this, that, and so on and so on and so forth. And I don't agree with that. I think that they're being incredibly disingenuous, and it's not objective.
What's truly uncomfortable about this topic is not that it's being discussed, it's that it's been ignored for so long. The way many fathers are treated in the family court system isn't just unfair, it's structurally dismissive. There's an assumption baked in from the start that a man is secondary, optional, or even suspicious by default. And that assumption quietly dictates outcomes. Now imagine, just for a moment, if women were treated even half as harshly in the same system. It wouldn't be a niche conversation. It wouldn't be whispered. It would dominate headlines, social feeds, and activist circles non-stop. There would be panels, protests, and policy demands within weeks. But when men raise these concerns, the response is very different. They're told to be quiet. They're told to stop complaining. They're shamed for even speaking up, exactly like he said. That reaction tells you everything. The issue isn't whether the problem exists, it's whose pain is allowed to be acknowledged publicly. Male suffering doesn't fit the preferred narrative, so it gets minimized, mocked, or reframed as weakness. And the moment a man pushes back, he's accused of playing victim, even though the system itself is stacked against him. What's also telling is how the so-called "it could never happen to me" crowd responds, when reality finally hits the same guys who dismissed it as exaggerated or thought they were immune because they were one of the good ones, suddenly go silent when they experience it firsthand. That's when the blinders come off. That's when theory turns into consequences. This isn't about bitterness, it's about awareness. Systems don't change until enough people are affected and willing to speak, even when they're told not to.
The bigger question, because you have like these high standards for your man, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you prepared to offer him?
Well, myself.
But like, well, what do you think that you, okay.
Man, I've seen that clip like a few times. I didn't think that I would laugh again. For some reason, silence, it just tickles me. And then the woman, like, who's asked the question, who's like, gets that meaningless answer, is like flabbergasted. Well, I mean, like, okay, I guarantee that this woman here, it's the first time in her life that she's ever thought about it. Like, what would I have to offer a man? And that's why she's completely speechless. She doesn't know what to say. It's like the question broke her brain. You know, she's like, yeah, like, I have high standards for men. He has to be this. He has to do this. So you ask her, so what are you willing to offer him in return? And it's like an error message in her brain. She doesn't understand. It doesn't compute. She's like, I'm a woman. I'm perfect. What is the question? What do you mean? I'm laughing, but in truth, the psychology behind it is actually pretty dark. This is what it reveals, is that for women, they believe themselves to be up here as a just default, like de facto, like I'm a woman, I'm amazing. But, you know, for a man, he has to, you know, earn his way up to being her equal, to be worthy of her. He has to be this, he has to do this, he has to perform in this way. And only then is, you know, he worthy of being in the same, you know, sentence as a woman.
As a licensed private detective, these are tricks I've seen females utilize to cheat on men and ladies in the realm of infidelity in the last 15 years. This is the ingenuity and capabilities women utilized to commit infidelity on their men. In most of these cases, over 90%, nobody's deleting evidence, okay? They're just designing anonymity. Most of it's by use of the phone, as you can imagine. A lot of it's through privacy settings. A lot of it's through socials. And in particular, innovative ways that it was carried out. But without further ado, here we go. Number one, anonymous accounts. Just like a trap phone, it's a trap account. You have your main account that everybody knows about, that your boyfriend knows about, that your husband knows about. Then you got one or two other accounts hooked up to different emails, or the same friggin' email, and you're using those accounts unbeknownst to them. It's often an account size of a business account. You know how they give you the option? It's often a business account. Number two, disappearing chats. Let me tell you something. You know why? Disappearing chats. Number three, something called controlled transparency. Controlled transparency is the following. Hey, honey, check out this DM I got. It's so silly, so stupid. And then something along the lines of scrolling through an open feed in front of you, purposely, so you see it. Controlled transparency includes what you call breadcrumbs for the taking. Number four, private stories and archive posts. Things that are behind the scenes of a regular nature, but only privy for a special person. I handled the case where I saw the guy's device and he showed me her account. The majority of the evidence was in her drafts. Who goes in somebody's drafts? Using the mechanisms of the platform. Essentially, hiding behind the algorithm.
But a woman's value goes down with every man that she's with. You know, women blow relationships, quality relationships with quality men, good men, because they're too distracted by unrealistic goals of the perfect man and the fake attention that they get on dating sites and at work and on business trips and such. Men want to build, but you just want to kick and fight. That's what women are. They want to kick, fight, and resist. And they don't want to appreciate how a man can provide and protect. He wants to build a better life. But most women would rather sample all the food at the buffet table. So then what happens when a woman splits from a good man who is a provider and a protector? He'll build something of value that will last with someone else while you're still dreaming of Brad Pitt will possibly walk into your life. Men are builders, not destroyers.
So let's be so for real. 99.9% of your relationship problems are caused by women scrolling themselves into a downward spiral. Let me explain. As we all know, the majority of social media is geared towards women, and there's so much useless information on this app about, oh, you know, your boyfriend didn't get you flowers, that means he hates you. Oh, he's not sleeping with you, that means there's someone else. Oh, he stopped at the gas station, that means he doesn't like you. Oh, he comes home from a 14-hour shift and doesn't help you with laundry, so that's his weaponized incompetence. He actually forgets dates and anniversaries or something because he's forgetful, then he's intentionally being a narcissist and forgetting information to gaslight you. When he's trying to control the finances because you overspend, now he's financially abusive. If he's on Twitter, that means he's cheating on you and looking at half-naked girls. If he stays at work late, that means he has a work wife and he's cheating on you. If he forgets something at the grocery store, then he's intentionally doing it because it's his weaponized incompetence. Women will literally sit here and scroll for 3 hours, and then you will be at work and all of a sudden you're fighting because she saw a TikTok that triggered her and now she thinks that you are cheating on her. And the worst part about it is it gives no space for men to be unhappy. It gives no space for men to be depressed or have their own mental health issues. It gives no room for these men to even have a normal job, because if he's not texting fast enough, then he hates you. It doesn't give any room for men to make mistakes. It doesn't give men any room to speak up or talk about anything without being labeled a narcissist or an abuser or whatever bullshit that social media is telling women. It gives men no space to have hobbies or be a normal human being, because inherently these men are out here just cheating, lying, scamming, and being pieces of all across the country. And you know, it has nothing to do with the fact that she has sat there and overanalyzed some that somebody said on TikTok, and now you're in a fight for the next 3 weeks because she's in a downward spiral because she does it to herself. And the funny thing is it comes from a bunch of bitter, miserable women who probably just broke up with their boyfriend that are saying all of this bull that are causing problems in your relationship. And the only reason that she needs so much reassurance is because she's sending herself into these downward spirals, and she's still expecting you to pick up the pieces even when you've done nothing wrong. These women are delusional because other women are making them delusional based on the information that they're retaining every single day, and I just don't think that.
There's a phrase people laugh off because it sounds uncomfortable, but it keeps proving itself true in real life. Single women often reinforce other women staying single. Not always intentionally, not always maliciously, but consistently. Misery doesn't just love company, it validates itself through agreement. And that's where the cycle starts. A lot of this comes down to emotional reinforcement. Complaining becomes a bonding ritual. If there's nothing wrong, something has to be found. If there's no conflict, one gets created. Drama becomes a form of stimulation, not because life is unbearable, but because peace feels boring to people who are addicted to emotional spikes. And when that mindset spreads through friend groups, it quietly poisons relationships from the outside in. What makes it ironic is that these same women will later rewrite the story. Suddenly, the marriage just wasn't fulfilling. They were unhappy. Things changed. But what never gets examined is the role constant dissatisfaction plays in creating that outcome. If you're always searching for problems, you will eventually convince yourself one exists, even when the foundation is solid. Accountability is the missing piece here. It's much easier to blame a partner for emotional emptiness than to admit you brought restlessness, comparison, and outside noise into your own home. It's easier to say a man failed than to admit peace wasn't exciting enough. And once again, the victim narrative becomes the shield that protects poor decisions from honest reflection. This isn't about attacking women as a whole. It's about calling out a pattern that thrives when self-awareness disappears. Relationships don't collapse overnight. They erode when dissatisfaction is encouraged, validated, and normalized instead of questioned. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Not every unhappy ending is caused by neglect. Sometimes it's caused by never being satisfied in the first place. If you've enjoyed the video this far and want to see more like it in the future, make sure to like the video. Thank you.
A conversation that's going to be uncomfortable to hear, how women are becoming insufferable, and it's not just affecting men, it's affecting other women too. And before you come at me in the comments, hear me out because I say this with love. I see this pattern everywhere, in relationships, in friendships, on social media, reality TV shows, podcasts, even in my own comment section. And I think we need to have an honest conversation about what's happening to us as women. Here's what I've been noticing, and it's honestly heartbreaking. We've been programmed by society to think that having zero accountability is somehow empowering, but it's actually making us insufferable to be around. We lack emotional intelligence, so we react to everything from pure emotion instead of thinking things through logically. We feel entitled to everything without bringing anything valuable to the table, whether it's in relationships or friendships. We've lost our moral compass. We don't have principles or values that guide our decisions. We just do whatever feels good in the moment. Loyalty has become a foreign concept. We'll throw anyone under the bus if it benefits us or makes us feel good about ourselves. And this isn't just impacting our romantic relationships with men, it's destroying our friendships with other women too. I see it in my comments all the time. Women attacking other women for having standards, for growing, for trying to better themselves. We've been conditioned to think that being difficult, dramatic, and demanding makes us strong, independent women, but it's actually making us insufferable and people that others want to avoid, honestly. The culture taught us that having no boundaries with ourselves, but expecting everyone else to cater to us is normal. But that's not how healthy relationships work. We can't build meaningful connections, romantic or platonic, when we're operating from entitlement, emotional reactivity, and zero accountability. If we want better relationships, we have to become better people. It starts with looking in the mirror, not pointing fingers.
Women on Thanksgiving. And men on... Okay, I see what you're doing. Well, he paid for those. All of these, this, that, these, those, these, and this. Plus the house and the electricity, this, that, that. The funny thing is, like, if you were single, you'd have to do all of this by yourself anyway.
And if this conversation resonated with you, if it made you pause, reflect, or even feel a little uncomfortable, that's a good thing. Because the next video goes even deeper into the patterns most people avoid talking about out loud. If you enjoyed this one, I promise you're going to want to see what's coming next. We connect more dots, challenge more narratives, and expose even more of the double standards shaping modern relationships. I'll see you there.